very accomplished person who has got a lot of experience in serving this country. We're proud to have him on our campus and proud to have him addressing our graduates. Tim Lewis worked with him in a church where Tim was a youth minister and worked with General Fraser's children. So we've asked Tim to come and introduce at this time our speaker for graduation.
It is a great privilege and honor for me to introduce our 2012 commencement speaker, General William Fraser III. General Fraser is currently the commander of the United States Transportation Command at Scott Air Force Base in Illinois. U.S. Transcom manages all global air, land, and sea transportation for the Department of Defense. I first met Will Fraser 21 years ago while visiting a church in Wichita, Kansas, wondering whether I should accept an offer to work with the young people there as a minister. It was a Sunday night, and I saw this man serving on the communion table with this industrial-sized walkie-talkie on his belt. I asked one of the teenagers there, I said, "Who is that guy?" And a middle school boy told me, "That's Mr. Fraser, and he is an Air Force colonel or something like that from the base. And if he wants to, he can call up a nuclear strike on our enemies, even during communion." And I remember thinking to myself, cool. And so I took that job and stayed there for 13 years. And in hindsight, knowing what I know now, I think he probably could have called up that strike. During the 2 years that I worked with Will's kids, Mac and Ashley, I formed some pretty enduring memories. Will may not remember this, but Mac was our family's first babysitter when our son Tyson was just 3 months old. When we came home, I handed Mac some money, and he looked at me and he said, "No, sir, I can't take your money." I said, "That's silly. Come on, take it." And he looked at me again. He said, "No, sir, I really can't take it. My mom said no matter what you say or what you do not take his money." That's bad, isn't it? I knew that she wasn't playing around, so I took back the money. You see, Will may be the only 4-star general that I know that is second in command in his own home. I also remember 8 years later when your tough, sweet wife sat with my family as a friend in an Omaha hospital surgery waiting room for 9 hours, as that same son of mine was having cancer removed from his body. See, that's Bev too. I'm excited today because General Fraser will be sharing with us from expert knowledge, not necessarily in the leading of troops or in operational logistics, but as a husband, as a father, and a man of faith who is leading his family, and as one who has survived the logistics of watching his own children graduate from college and successfully move into the next phases of their lives. Please help me welcome to the stage our commencement speaker, General William Fraser.
Wow. Thanks, Tim. I very much appreciate that. The members, faculty, obviously, proud parents, distinguished guests, and most of all, to the class of 2012. Thank you very much for inviting me to share in your commencement ceremony today. I am indeed truly honored and privileged to be here. I do want to thank Tim for the kind introduction. What he may not know is that I do remember some of those things. But I won't tell stories about him. Dr. Ekman, I want to thank you and your team for the wonderful work that you're doing here. You're obviously providing a superb education and setting the stage now for these students to be successful. That was very evident last night in the remarks that Luke, Stephanie, Nathan, Alicia, and Sarah made. In fact, they were very interesting remarks at dinner last night. We did not have the opportunity to hear them. I encourage you to talk to one of them and find out exactly what they said. They talked about some great experiences. They talked about the wonderful time they've had here at York. But let me also tell you who else is doing a wonderful job. As the teachers and faculty have done a wonderful job this class of 2012. And that's the men and women who are selflessly serving around the world, defending the freedoms that we all enjoy. As was mentioned, the United States Transportation Command is a global command. And as the commander, I'm responsible for leading those that deploy, sustain, and then redeploy our men and women who have either been serving in humanitarian response or in response to a crisis, because the sun never sets on Transportation Command. On any given day, we're responsible for over 900 airlift flights. That's one that's taking off every 90 seconds or landing. We've got 30 special courier missions going on every day, moving sensitive and critical cargo. We're responsible for 35 ships daily, 9 either loading or unloading critical cargo. We've got 10 aeromedical evacuations on average being accomplished in the theater every day, getting those who have been wounded on the battlefield to the critical care that they need for saving lives. We've got responsibility for over 4,000 truck movements every day. 2,000 of them is household good movements, because our families move a lot, and we make more than 500,000 moves every year. We're responsible for over 100 rail car movements every single day, and over 100 operational refueling missions. You know, there's no other country that can do what we do, and we're obviously leading the way. But let me tell you, speaking about leading the way, since 1890, this college has been turning out America's leaders. It is the teaching, the mentoring of all the faculty, and that allows these young men and women, like the class of 2012, to find their way to success and achievement in their lives, and to become positive influence in the lives of others. As Tim's already mentioned, he has been a very positive influence on my kids' lives. I've known him since the early 90s, as he mentioned, when I was at McConnell, and I never really did have the authority to launch nuclear weapons. I'm not sure that we ever really know the impact that we're having when we have engagements and that we are the example that we are. But I can tell you that Tim made a difference in my kids' lives. And there's no doubt he has been extremely influential in literally hundreds of others. Tim, I want to thank you for that. You know, to the parents and family members that are here, especially you parents, congratulations to each and every one of you. I have been in your seat when both of my children graduated. I know that you're extremely proud today, but I also know that there's probably just a tinge of financial relief as well. As Tim said, my son didn't want to take money, but he obviously wasn't very focused when he went to college either. He went to Abilene Christian. He did 3 semesters. He had a really good time. So that financial relief I was well aware of. And so one day when I told him, I said, son, you can't keep this up. He said, I got to figure it out, Dad. I'm going to move home, go to night school, I'm going to get a day job. I said, well, that's great, son. You obviously have changed. And 2 out of 3 is not bad because you're not moving home. Sometimes you got to have tough love. But I also know that the moms and dads, guardians, brothers and sisters, when you look at these young men and women, you must have enormous pride in what you've done to make today possible. Because I know I felt that pride in both Mac and Ashley on the days that they graduated. Because after my son completed his tour in the United States Marine Corps, he went back to college and completed his degree. And yeah, my daughter went on to Texas A&M and completed hers. And so I know how proud you are. So all of you here, the faculty, the students, the families, are part of what make York College such a special, special place. I'm keenly aware also that you may have been hoping for a more entertaining choice of commencement speaker. However, all you got was a simple little Texas Aggie. Now I will tell you that that you can give me the best jokes that you got out there as far as Aggies go, because I've heard them all. In fact, as Tim would tell you, I have even been the joke a few times. Because in reality, a lot of them aren't jokes. They're true life stories. And the true life story, because I can't make this up, my daughter going to Texas A&M. After we had graduated, we were going to a football game. And I invited her because I was going to be the reviewing official, and I said, hey, Ashley, I said, you want to come over and be with your mom and I? I'm going to be the reviewing official. Maybe we can get together, we go to midnight yell practice on Friday night before the game on Saturday. She says, great. What time is midnight yell practice? Can't make it up, ladies and gentlemen. Really? I paid for this? You know, Texas A&M, though, is like many college campuses. It has traditions outside the classroom that demonstrate the strength of the bonds and friendships that have been made there. In fact, it's often been said that those on the outside looking in really don't understand it. But those of us who have been on the inside really can't explain it. And I'm sure you've experienced that right here at York College. You know, I heard last night that not all the learning necessarily went on in the classroom. There's a lot of confessions last night. But you know, that's where some of the best learning probably takes place. It takes place outside the classroom. It's in the friendships that you form. It's the perspectives you gain. Yeah, it's probably the high curbing that you did. You don't know what that is? Yes, sir. I was paying attention, sir. Did Nathan make it on time? You know, it's an important aspect of growing up. Things like that help you grow. They help you grow academically. They help you grow socially. Ladies and gentlemen, they help you grow spiritually. You know, when you leave this campus, I'm confident that you'll be well prepared for whatever endeavor you choose. To those of you who have lined up jobs, congratulations. To those of you not exactly sure what comes next, I know how you feel. Starting with the first graduation more than 120 years ago, York graduates have gone forward from this college with a deep sense of duty, strong intellect, and commitment to helping their communities, their nation, and the world. Once they left the halls of York College, they carried with them the tools and the skills to be successful, thanks to the mentoring, the faculty, and the teachers here. And they achieved success by being well-grounded spiritually and by maintaining balance in their lives, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And let me share with you just for a moment what I've learned about being successful and what I continue to see in those that serve in our military today. And that is the strength of their character in 4 specific traits that I would offer. First, I would offer that you got to have desire. You have to want something. A burning will to compete and win. You know, in 1 Corinthians 9:24 it says, do you not know that in a race, all the runners run by only, but one gets the prize. Run in such a way as to get the prize. You know, I'm reminded of the story of Sergeant First Class Joseph Kapowski. He's one of our wounded warriors. I recently had the chance to visit some of the wounded warriors at Park Army Medical Center. And I have to tell you, the resiliency of our wounded warriors gives me confidence in the future of our military, but moreover, confidence in our nation. They have my deepest respect and appreciation for their dedication. Joe Kapowski found his calling as a squad leader while deployed to Iraq with the 75th Ranger Regiment. In 2005, at the end of his deployment, a grenade was rolled into his vehicle, shattered his right leg, damaged his hip, and severed an artery in his right arm. You know, for 16 months, Joe dreamed of getting back out on deployment with his fellow soldiers. While the doctors tried to rehabilitate his leg, he had more than 40 surgeries. But he never gave up. And in the end, fortunately, the doctors had to take his leg. But Joe didn't give up on his dream of deploying again with the men and women he had been serving with. And yes, even with a prosthetic leg, he wanted to deploy. So 10 months after his amputation, Joe completed an Army physical test. That test was comprised of a 5-mile run and a 12-mile road march while carrying 40 pounds of gear. And now he's deployed 4 times to Afghanistan since he was wounded. When asked why he stays in uniform, Joe simply replied, "It's all about the guys you work with. I feel like I have the privilege to come to work every single day with 600 of my best friends." There's a certain bond there. There's a certain desire to serve. I encourage you to discover for yourself what it is that drives you. What course or career path engages your head, engages your heart and your passion. And then I encourage you to pursue it. Pursue it with all the energy that you have. Next, I also know that by the time you got here to college, you knew it was going to be a tough road to hoe. But I also knew when I went to college, as you did, it was going to take some discipline. And discipline is the second item because I think it fuels success. It takes training. So you continue to read in 1 Corinthians 9:25, everyone who competes in the games goes into training. Maturity doesn't just happen, and unfortunately there's no cliff notes and there's no shortcuts. And you've already taken a step forward right here at York College. So when you walk across the stage today and you hold that diploma, the one that you've earned through a few sleepless nights, a few lost social events, and many hours of memorizing, reciting, and writing, you'll be able to show your future employer and your friends and family that you had the discipline to master the fundamentals of your field. The degree tells the world that you're trainable. It says that you have the time management skills, the maturity, the dedication, the determination, and learning ability, and it tells the world that you have discipline. Now it's up to you to carry that discipline that you've learned throughout the rest of your life. You need to make it a part of your life, and not for just the part that you have here. And that's where I come to my third point, and it's commitment. Now I'm sure that you've seen or know someone who always looks for the easy way out. They ride the crest of the wave, but they fail to have dedication to follow through when the times get tough, no matter what it may be. I will tell you that those I was with in Afghanistan just this last week are fully committed to what they're doing, and they're making a difference in the lives of the individuals that are there on a daily basis. You know, in October 1941, the United Kingdom's Prime Minister Winston Churchill visited his old school, Harrow School, where he was asked to speak to the students. The year had been a difficult one in the UK, deep into World War II, with Luftwaffe airstrikes on their major cities and the rationing of everyday items. However, things were starting to turn around for the UK. The United States began sending supplies in vast amounts of war material, and Germany turned its main war efforts toward other countries. And in his speech to the students, Churchill said, and I quote, "Never give in. Never give in. Never, 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 never. In nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in, except to convictions of honor and good sense." Now, your history books taught you the outcome of that war. And with my years and my own bumps and bruises in life, I can echo Churchill's comments. Don't ever give in. You can make a promise to yourself right here and now, and you can commit to excellence in everything that you do. And with commitment comes my final point, that's sacrifice. You have to be willing to give up something for a special purpose. Sacrifice isn't necessarily a friendly word in today's culture, and I think you know that. Who wants to really sacrifice anything? Some of you will choose a life serving in your church, some in the community, and believe it or not, it's going to require sacrifice whatever you do. You will bear the cross to follow your calling. Now you can imagine, I've seen sacrifice throughout my years of service to our country. And last week, I also had the opportunity to meet with more than 130 soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who were not only wearing the medals of war, but also the scars of war. But with the memories of present camps and being wounded in action, these individuals gave special tribute to those who had paid the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of our country. The brave young Americans who volunteered to confront their adversaries in spite of the risk to their own personal future, they were willing to make a sacrifice. brave soldiers such as Major John Alexander Otto, a 1964 West Point graduate who paid the ultimate sacrifice in a helicopter crash over Laos during Vietnam. 1 year prior, he had penned a letter to his wife, Linda, and it was to only be opened on the event of his death. Now, part of that letter said, "I deny that I died for anything. I deny that I died for anything. Not my country, not my army, not my fellow man, none of these things. I lived for these things." You know, our liberties come with sacrifice, paid for by those such as Major Otto, who made it possible for us to enjoy our freedoms, for us to be here today, to have freedom of speech, freedom of religion. There was no off-season. They didn't coast to the end. They sacrificed for something they loved, for something greater than themselves. So I'd like to close by saying that, ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2012, that if you have the desire to do your best, if you have the discipline to focus that desire, if you have the commitment to finish the job and the willingness to make sacrifices for a greater cause, then I would contend you have enormous character and you will achieve your dreams. You need to go forth and sow your character, for you will have a destiny. On your last day as students, my call to you is to maintain your desire, discipline, commitment, and sacrifice. Maintain your character after you leave this campus. There's so many needs to be met, so many ways that you can help, from mentoring a child to becoming a teacher, to volunteering to feed the hungry, the sick that are overseas. If you hear the call of service to the military or to the government, answer. If you enter the private sector, be proud of contributing to our prosperity and making a difference in the lives of others that you touch. And give back to your communities. The phrase last night that was used was pay it forward. Wherever life leads you, I encourage you to pursue a path of service. You will find fulfillment beyond measure. Again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today to share in your celebration the beginning of what I know will be a wonderful future for each and every one of you. Class 2012, congratulations. May God continue to bless you, your families, your college, and the United States of America. Thank you very much.